Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, we have some tragic news about a cruise ship passenger passing away in a very popular thing to do when you're on a cruise excursion. We also have an update on what's happening in Skagway, Alaska, and will they be ready for the cruise season this year? We also have more propulsion issues for a different cruise ship. Again, it seems like there's an awful lot of propulsion issues on cruise ships all of a sudden. Our first story takes place where a 76-year-old woman was out on a shore excursion in St. Lucia, and she took an excursion to one of the beaches, unfortunately got caught and ended up drowning at one of the beaches. Now, one of the reasons I'm mentioning this is because a lot of people will often take taxis and ask drivers where's one of the more secluded beaches, and they'll head out on their own. A lot of places in the Caribbean, the beaches are beautiful. There's lots of secluded areas to get to and everything, but not all of them are monitored. Not all of them have warning flags, and you can get caught in an undertow very, very easily. And the more secluded you are, the more romantic it sounds and more fun it sounds, but it also, the more dangerous it can be if something happens. So I just, condolences to the family of this lady, but I just thought it's a good idea as a reminder that, sometimes the busier beach with lifeguards and warning flags and monitors are the better bet. And and you always have to be aware of your surroundings at all times. So, again, condolences to the friends and family of the lady. Okay. Skagway, Alaska was plagued last year with the rock slides along railroad dock. And a lot of ships ended up canceling the port. They ended up tendering some ships at some time. And it really affected their business near the end of the season last year. This year they're expecting record-breaking season. And they've been working on that rock slide area since the close of cruising season last year. They've had a company come in and they've done evaluations. They say it will cost about $40 million to fully repair that area and get rid of the danger of that rock slide. They're looking for federal funding and emergency funding. They've applied for all this stuff, and in the meantime, they've hired a company that's gone in and they've done mitigation efforts. In other words, they've caused some rock slides in some place that looks like it was getting ready to go. They put up netting and they have developed a plan in place for this year. Now, their current plan is to have large ships like, say, an Oasis class ship or a NCL Breakaway class ship will dock at railroad aft. And from there, buses will take the passengers into the railroad area past the rock slide area. Smaller ships will end up being tendered and possibly into the town or into the railroad area. But that plan does come with some risks. The risk is that it has to meet the Highway Safety Act. If it doesn't, for that area where the buses will be going through in front of the rock slide area, if it doesn't pass that, then they cannot use the far dock, which is where all the large cruise ships will be. So they say they should be running all their tests and everything by April. Should be up and running and they should know. The trouble is, cruise lines are anxiously waiting for those results, because if they have to make changes to itinerary schedules, they don't want to wait to the last minute to have to do this, right? If all of a sudden you're not going to be able to go into a port and there's 30 ships in Alaska, that's 30 ships every single day, that are looking to rearrange their docking procedures and get berths someplace else or sailing into different areas. So it's not a clear-cut system yet. They also say they're going to be hiring spotters who will be watching the rock slide area every day that the cruises are, as long as they're in the port. So if there's any sign that something's going to happen, they can immediately call into all the buses and all the people in the area to immediately clear the area as an extra layer of precaution. They are looking for a huge season comeback this year compared to last year, but if something happens that, for instance, they don't get that Highway Safety Act approval, or the cruise lines get too nervous and decide to start pulling some of their stops out, that can completely change the whole outlook for the town. So fingers crossed that this works for them. I know a lot of people out there will want to go to Skagway. I mean, that's where the White Pass Railway is. It's one of the most popular destinations in Alaska. And so we really do hope that it works out for the town, especially for the people who live and work there and rely on the cruise ships coming in every single time. Okay, well, we have a cruise line that's changing some stuff up because of propulsion issue. Well, before I get there, let me just invite you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. If you want to keep up to date with all things cruising, from itinerary changes to what's happening in Alaska. Are we going to be able to go to Skagway? Yes or no? To some warnings about destinations that you have to keep an eye on so nothing tragic happens. We're going to cover everything, including money-saving tips and tricks for making your next cruise just a little bit more enjoyable and maybe save you some money at the same time. Well, I hope you'll join us here on the channel. It doesn't cost anything to hit the subscribe button, but boy, it really does help the channel out. And again, I really do appreciate it. Okay, Holland America just announced their ship sailing today. The New Amsterdam has had to make an itinerary change because, yep, one of its engines, the propulsion issues with one of its pods, is not able to run at full steam ahead, shall we say. It's had to change the itinerary of Bonaire for Aruba. Now, those two destinations are only about 125 miles apart, so it's not a great itinerary change. Apparently, it can still go fast enough that it doesn't need to change an entire destination to go from, say, a southern Caribbean cruise to an Eastern Caribbean cruise. But we're going to have to keep an eye on this because this is the same ship that just a few days ago announced a change to the May 7th Alaska 14-day sailing, saying it's going to be skipping Skagway and changes to numerous other ports because of operational issues. Now, are the two related? We're not sure. That's a 14-day sailing, a much longer cruise, and a lot further destination to go. However, you have more days to get there and do it. Will it get fixed in time for the May 7th cruise? Well, we'll have to keep an eye on it, and hopefully this isn't a compound issue where there was another issue and now there's an engine issue as well. But if you're on the New Amsterdam in the next couple of weeks, I would keep an eye on your itinerary in case things get worse, they're not able to make repairs, and more itinerary changes have to be done. This is one of those cases where some people like to book their own shore excursions, not go through the cruise line. They'll go through TripAdvisor or something like that. Well, or it's a Travelgo. Well, yeah, except those shore excursions aren't always refundable. Now, if a cruise line skips a port, they normally will give you back all of your shore excursion credits, no problem. However, if you book it yourself, you might not, be able to get your money back. So that's a watch out as well, especially if you know a cruise ship is having some itinerary changes and issues. Okay, another thing is, what's the compensation being offered? Holland America has offered, because they're just switching a cruise port and it's not too far of a distance away, it's not a big interruption. They're giving away a $50 non-refundable onboard credit to all passengers sailing on the sailing today. So non-refundable. That means you better use it before the end of the cruise on something. Even if you put it on your gambling and just go and gamble, because yeah, at the end of the cruise, if you have money left over on that onboard credit, that's the cruise lines and you loser. So just if you're on that ship, make sure you spend the money that you're owed. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.